when using, if you use an intensity multiplier to calculate TDEE, have you ever, or can you go in between the suggested numbers given for the equation? So she's talking about online calculators that calculate your TDEE, so total daily energy expenditure, and they give you the options like light exercise. It's calculating your BMR times 1.375, and then moderate, 3 to 5 days of exercise, BMR times 1.55, and so on. So she's asking, could you use a middle ground BMR? For example, BMR times 1.45. So if she was in between like light and moderate, she's asking. I don't. So first of all, when I use like a TDE calculator to get an estimate of someone's total daily energy expenditure that I'm bringing on, as a nutrition coaching client, but it is a complete estimate. Like I really don't even use it. Like I'm just looking at it, more or less. I am looking at what they're currently eating right now. Okay. So I get them to track 7 days of food and see how much they're eating. And then we take a deep dive, like we get on a call and we take a deep dive into their past dieting history, what the last, year, 2 years have looked like, because that gives me, a pretty good idea of like potentially where metabolism might be sitting, what's kind of like what's happened with that. So I don't go in between. No. It's very much just used as, I don't even know the word. Like it's used as,
it's an estimate.
Yeah, like it's an estimate. I think what she's it's being overcomplicated in this in this like she's just overcomplicating it a little bit. So my suggestion would be to go on a little bit of the lower end. So like there's different calculators are going to give you different numbers. So like I'll use like BMR calculator.org, and then you could use like something like Precision Nutrition or like Harris Benedict, and I'll kind of go in the middle of based off like what they've given. But I still recommend you track your food for 7 days and you go off of that and see what your weight is doing, like average your weight. And if you're maintaining with those calories that you're on, or like do it for 2 weeks, that's going to tell you where you're currently at. And then you can kind of, if you need to increase for a period of time, if you need to decrease now, okay, you can go from like where you're currently at.
Totally. Don't overthink it. Just get started with a number and see how your body responds. If you weigh yourself, you'll know if it's too much, if it's too little, or the right amount, right?
You would, I technically I would actually want my clients to track for 2 weeks, right? But I mean, we just don't, because we want to get started. But someone, if you're not working with a coach and you're not in a rush, which you shouldn't necessarily be in a rush, track for 2 weeks, like how you've been eating. Don't change anything. Eat exactly how you've been eating. Get your weight in every day and get an average of your weight. If it's going up, you're kind of in this like surplus. If it's staying the same, you're at maintenance area. If it's going down, you're in a deficit.
Yeah, not just that. I mean, for a lot of people who start looking into this, they also just get into tracking. So that's also something, which is also a reason why I wish we had 2 weeks. Or, I mean, we could do this, but realistically, like our clients do, we want to start making results,
Yeah.
And I do think that 1 week is pretty good already. However, 2 weeks, just give it 2, like see how it goes, get consistent, then maybe adjust if you need to.
Yes, totally. Yeah, even when a client comes on, like I'm like, these couple weeks are still testing weeks. Like I tell them that. I'm like,
totally.
This is where I'm still seeing, what's going on. I'm going to give you this to try and hit, but we're still in this like testing area.
Yeah. And then we just see how you respond. That's exactly what I do with the people I just did macros for. So in September, I did macros for people for free to just fill in a form.
Yeah.
And I shoot them an email with a bunch of questions. And then eventually, after a couple emails, I send them the numbers. I told them, like, yo, start with this, right? Like, I don't have that much information. I tried to collect as much as possible, but start here and see how it goes. 2 weeks, see what you do, what your weight does, I should say. See how you go. And then maybe, like, feel free to get back to me, but, like, give this a chance first. And I think, especially if you're doing this on your own, like Christine said, give it a shot, 2 weeks, and maybe adjust when you need to afterwards. But until then, just get consistent first, right? And see how you respond. Because those formulas, they're great, and we use them sometimes, but it's just an estimation. Like, we don't really know if it's going to be too little, too much, or actually close enough.
Yeah.